Dear Dr. Steve, I heard sleeping pills are killing people. What's up with that? Although there are studies showing alcohol increases risk of death in people who take hypnotic sleep aids, like Valium, Ativan, or Ambien, so don't do that. I think what you're referring to is a recent article in the online version of the British Medical Journal. It matched a group of people who take sleeping pills on a regular basis with a group of people who don't. The conclusions they drew were pretty frightening. The group that took even just a few sleeping pills a year had a 4-fold increase in death. The groups that took more sleeping pills a year had an even higher death rate. Before we proceed, let's talk about absolute risk versus relative risk. Let's take 2,000 participants divided into two groups of 1,000, with one group eating purple jelly beans. We follow them over time, and 8 people died in the purple jelly bean group compared to 2 in the non-bean eater group. This is a 400% increase in death, but the absolute risk is 6 excess deaths out of 1,000, or 0.16%. So even though the risk is 4 times higher in the jelly bean group, the actual risk of death remains extremely low. And that, my friends, is the difference between relative risk and absolute risk. If there's any good news in the study in question, very few people actually died during the study. In fact, the absolute risk of death was quite low at 0.0182. So the risk to the individual is small, but the risk to society is non-trivial. This again illustrates the need to look at both the relative risk, here 400%, and the absolute risk, which in this case is 1.8%. A larger study done in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medication was a little less dire, but still concerning. It confirmed that hypnotic sleep aid use is associated with a higher relative risk of all-cause mortality. Specifically, the relative risk was reported to be 1.60, meaning that hypnotic sleep aid users had a 60% higher risk of death from any cause compared to non-users. In terms of absolute risk, the study indicated that the absolute risk increase for all-cause mortality among hypnotic sleep aid users was 0.5%. This means that for every 200 people using hypnotic sleep aids, there was 1 additional death compared to non-users. These findings suggest a significant association between hypnotic sleep aid use and increased mortality risk. Interestingly, the sleep aid melatonin was not included in this study because it is not considered a hypnotic agent and might be a worthy replacement for insomniacs who are at risk, according to this study. Sleep hygiene, a protocol for improved sleep through consistency, can be helpful and will be covered in another video. So, everyone who is taking sleeping pills on a regular basis should talk to their healthcare provider about whether there are other options for them. Hope this is useful. Check out Weird Medicine on SiriusXM or wherever podcasts are found. Thanks for listening.